In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victorious. So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am your host, Sean Patrick Donnelly, here with my co-host, Andy Fiore.
Hi, Sean.
I think...
Fiore. Don't say it like that.
What did I say? Say Fiore?
Frenched it all up. Fiore.
Andy Croissant. Listen, I think it's time to tell everybody. Everybody out there who listens to the show is used to hearing me and Farrah do the podcast. Just to let you know, Farrah, there's no problem. What happens is Farrah, due to a scheduling thing, Farrah isn't able to do the podcast as much these days. So what I did is I enlisted my buddy, my pal, my hilarious comedian, Andy Fiore.
Fuck you.
To come on and help me out as co-host from now on. Farrah will be back on the show. She will be back to visit and do episodes. So if you love Farrah, you will be hearing her in future episodes. But just so you know, there's no bad blood. Nothing bad happened. We are pals. We're still good pals. It's just she couldn't get out to record as much as she would like. So that's the thing. If you have any questions, email us at defendyourmovie@gmail.com with your co-host questions. That's what I call it, co-host questions. So thank you. But thank you for listening, and we're excited for this episode. We're going to try a couple new things. We're going to... first off, how are you, Andrew?
Good, man. I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
How do I properly pronounce your last name?
Fiore.
Fiore. Oh, okay.
You're going Fiore.
Fiore. Oh, yeah.
No,
I was
it's
doing
like
Howard
Fiore.
Stern WNBC.
Yeah. Fiore.
Fiore. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was screwing it up like when I was saying it normal, too. Or
No, yeah, it's perfect.
everything's good with you?
Yeah, had a nice weekend in San Francisco.
Did a little punchline.
Punchline, great room, first time there.
With an amazing comedian. First episode of this podcast.
Oh, look at that
Daniel
tie-in.
Soder.
Daniel Ralph Soder.
Yes, he the guy is just a beast of a comic.
Yeah, fun time.
We had a great episode with him here because I was like, hey, we'll do Cocktail. That was the first episode we ever did. And he came in and he did Cocktail. And then we realized we didn't know it as well. So he was like, just come to my house, we'll watch it and tape it with my equipment.
Oh, nice.
So that came out as like a part of a bonus section of the episode.
Oh, great.
So it was pretty funny. Yeah, so it was fun weekend. That club is awesome.
Good weekend.
San Francisco is a really fun town.
Fun town. I have some friends from home that I grew up with who moved there now, so I got to see them.
Just go out and get loaded? Or
No, we actually didn't do shit.
Really?
It was just one of those, let's hang. They're big on the edibles, and I'm not, but I ate one with them to fit in.
And what'd you think?
I got so high.
Yeah.
I got fucked. We actually watched Punching Henry, which, if you know...
was it the second one, or is it the...
No,
you mean Henry Phillips?
Yeah, Henry Phillips' movie.
Yes.
And I, to the point of annoyance, I was like, there's Joe List. There's this. My
Yeah.
friend's like, we get it. You know everything. So it's a good movie.
If
and
you
it's-
haven't seen it, it's called Punching Henry.
Punching
Or
Henry.
not Punching... Was the first one called Punching the Clown or something? Or
Yes, that's Punching the Clown.
Punching the
right.
Clown was great. I never saw Punching Henry, though.
Really good, really funny, and tons of our friends are in
Cameos
it. Yeah,
from
cameos.
comics.
And,
if you want to see a good comedy, see Punching the Clown and see Punching Henry. Henry Phillips, and also if you want a really great comic, Henry Phillips makes me laugh.
Yeah.
He had when Jash. There used to be a YouTube channel called Jash. I think it's still around, maybe in a different form. But he did a web series called. I have to have my goddamn coffee, or I have to have my coffee, or something like that. And the whole point of the episode was him just trying to get his morning or his cup of coffee wreaks havoc,
Right.
breaks up relationships because he's in somebody's house and they causes a fire in the house. It's like
That's
all
great,
this crazy stuff. It's really, really funny. So if you love great comedy, check out Henry Phillips. I would love to have him on the podcast. He lives out
he'd be
west.
perfect.
He lives out west. He'd be awesome. And we could talk about his movie. Yeah, so San Francisco is a really, really cool place. super expensive.
So, more so than here.
More so than here. So
Yeah.
rent there. I remember I was getting an Uber back. I've done Sketchfest a couple times. I never did the club. I never did Punchline as the club, but I did Sketchfest, and I was getting an Uber back to the airport once, and the guy was like, yeah, he was telling me about him and his girlfriend. He's like, well, we're moving out, but we share a studio, and we pay $5,500 for a studio.
ridiculous.
And I'm like, oh, this must be a brand new building. He's like, nah, it's a regular building. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah.
So that place is really expensive. I do like going there. I was there I guess in the spring or something.
Yeah, beautiful town.
It's a beautiful town.
Great weather. Tough flight back.
We're going to do on the podcast, I guess most podcasts have this, but let's do a little movie news. We got movie news. We figured I had a couple things I wanted to talk about. First off, I had Andy, right before we started, I had you watch the Shazam trailer. The Shazam is the new movie, the new DC movie that's coming out. I think it's coming out not for a while.
Spring, I think it's
Spring is coming out. But the trailer was launched at Comic-Con over this past week, and it's pretty awesome. Like, it's almost like you watch it and you're like, oh, DC figured it out. You're like, oh, okay.
Right.
And the way they did that was by being a little bit silly. And you don't want to... But even... You know what, though? Even watching it, I don't know about you, were you like... I didn't watch it and go, oh, it's a Marvel movie ripoff, or it's a Guardians ripoff, or an Ant-Man ripoff.
Thought never would have crossed my mind until you said it right there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I meant, like, adding the comedy to it. Because that's one of the things...
Yeah, but I like that. It's not necessarily a ripoff.
No.
Like, I love the way Thor Ragnarok kind of was...
a straight-up comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think what happens was, I think they wrote the script for Thor Ragnarok, and then just went in and literally just punched it up.
Yeah,
because they have every trope from an action movie, and they flip it on its side. In Ragnarok, I watched it again like a couple weeks ago. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really great.
Jeff Goldblum in Ragnarok is one of the funniest
really
fucking things in the world.
Yeah.
But the Shazam trailer, if you haven't seen it yet, we won't spoil it per se. But watching it, I don't even know much about. I was never into Shazam.
Didn't know a thing about it.
Comic book. I think it was a kid's. I think it was like Casper, and then you had Shazam. I don't think Shazam was like a. If they're going by the story of it, it's, if you watch the trailer, it's not the movie, so we're not spoiling anything. It's this kid, and he's kind of a badass kid. And then he moves to a town. He's like a foster kid. He's a foster kid, moves to a town. He meets up with another foster kid
he shares the home with.
He shares the home with.
Yeah.
And right away, they're like funny with each other right away. Then they cut to a scene of them at school. And
getting picked on.
These bullies are picking on the handicapped kid, and the little kind of badass kid, even for a teenager, really cool little fight scene for a teenager. Let's kick their ass with the kid's crutches.
Right.
Really cool idea, And then they show him go on the subway. It's supposed to be in New York. Gotta be in New York.
Yeah.
Because it's like a New York subway. And then the thing, everything flickers, the lights go on and off. He's on there alone, and he's taken to some mystical land, and then. There's some superhero-looking guy, but with long gray hair, and he's like, "Say my name so I can transfer my powers." And he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Shazam." And he's like, and they make a joke about the name even in the trailer. He's like, "Really? That's your name?" He's like, "Say it!" And he says it, and then I guess he gets his powers. So I guess anytime the name Shazam is said, he becomes a superhero. So he's still a teenager, but then when Shazam, he becomes Zachary Levi. That's his name, right?
I think so.
I think it's Zachary Levi, the guy from Chuck. So it's kind of like a fun. You know what it reminded me of? It's like it's for kids. Like, it looks like it's for kids. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Marvel got to the point where they're like, "Hey, we got to make this for adults and kids." I think they're like, "No, this is like a really cool movie for kids."
Yeah, Zachary Levi.
It is Zachary Levi, right? Yeah, he's great. He's awesome.
He's great. I loved Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck. Yeah, you. I never watched it, but
it was good.
You said it was great.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm saying is, that's why I think I like this trailer. Is because what did you think of the trailer?
I liked it. And
you just thought it was fun,
yeah, it was fun. It didn't annoy me like some of the I watched Justice League and I just hated it.
Well, Justice
and I'm
League,
admittedly not a comic book guy, but I enjoy the movies.
I enjoy
and I'll
the
give
movies
everything
too.
a chance.
I
usually.
love the movies, and I was never a comic book guy,
right?
Either. And I love the movies, but I'll tell you, I think Justice League. I didn't watch the movie because of the trailer and the ad campaign.
Yeah.
The ad campaign was the poster was so bad, I was like, ugh. And I know that sounds stupid, but I just didn't follow up, I wasn't like, oh my God, that looks amazing,
right.
I gotta check it out.
It just didn't go anywhere, and it was just annoying.
That's what I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to this, you watch it, you're like, oh, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Shazam, you're like,
it looks cool.
It looks cool. Because you're right. They can really. When I always watch trailers in movies, like, I would love to do. I want to do soundtracks for movies and trailers. I would love to pick the songs.
Right. Yeah.
That would be perfect.
That's a fun job.
Because sometimes in trailers, like, the trailers, let's be honest, like, there's a lot of bad movies out there. The trailers are better than the movies a lot of the time. So to make the trailer, like, it's got to be very embarrassing for the guy who made the movie when, like, the guy who made the trailer, it's like, oh, you just made this way better in like a 3-minute version than I have. Because even though, like, they have, like, I think that's like Kendrick Lamar songs in it, like.
I didn't remember.
It's the song in the Shazam trailer. I think it's Kendrick Lamar, but it sounds like it's like kind of a weird version. It sounds like a sped up version or something. It's just really cool. Also, like I said, the fight scene outside the school is like this teenager fight scene, but it's like badass. And then when they have a cool scene where he thwarts 2 robbers. So it kind of reminds you of, like, it actually reminds me of Spider-Man a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But then with a little bit of a twist where it's like, oh, but he's not a kid. He turns into an adult when he's...
Yeah, seems a little more humorous, too.
And he's a little bit more... Yeah, right, exactly. He's like, yeah, whatever. So I dug it. I think, to be honest, I guess I'm swayed by trailers because I don't think I would have gone to see... If Shazam just came out regular and I was like, oh, it's DC and it's Shazam, I wouldn't have gone to see it.
Right.
But, like, based on this, I'm like, oh, I'll go check it out.
Yeah, a good trailer will always get me.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing now. Comedy is just, and that's one of the things that Nathan McIntosh, who's a comic that we know has been on the show, he hates the fact that these movies have had comedy just injected into them. Like, that's just part of the...
Right.
Like, a big part of it is them with quips back and forth, and he's like, just do the action! And he, like, freaks out on
I mean, he's not wrong. I get it.
He's not wrong,
It
but
became like a thing that they had to do, but I mean...
But you know what?
You
If
didn't
they
see,
were-
like, the Dark Knight, trilogy really do that.
No.
And they stuck.
And they were great.
And they were the best.
And they're the best. And Marvel, honestly, if they were screwing it up, I'd say, yeah, it's, like, forced. It's not.
Right.
It's good. Look at Ragnarok.
They're comic books. Like, they are meant to be lighter and a little funnier.
Exactly. Look at Ragnarok. The whole thing is basically a comedy, but it's still badass. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
You watch it, like, I thought that's when Justice League was coming out, Ragnarok was in the theaters, I think, and I remember thinking, just that one scene where they have the 3 of them walking down the bridge to fight Kate Blanchett, I think it is, or whoever it is, whoever played the sister,
right,
the bad guy, and
I think it's her.
I think it's Kate Blanchett. Anyway, they're walking down the thing. It's the Valkyrie, Loki, and Thor. And it's like something, it's badass music playing. And I'm like, that looks way better than the whole Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Justice League, it's build Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash. It's like it should be epic, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, so that's that. The Shazam trailer was cool. Also, another thing that happened is, and I don't know what your opinion is on it. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine about it. Apparently, James Gunn, who I didn't even know who it was until this story came out. That's how much I don't follow up on the directors of certain movies. Like, I just assume, like, Marvel has its bullpen of directors they're using for these things, except for the guy who's Ryan, the Looper guy that did one of the Star Wars.
Yeah, which is what's his name?
Ryan. I forget his name. Anyway, so James Gunn was the guy who did the last 2 Guardians movies, and those are 2 of my Guardians. The first Guardians is maybe my favorite.
I love the first.
It's my favorite one. I think it's my favorite Marvel movie. And James Gunn was the director of those 2.
Ryan Johnson?
Ryan Johnson, that's him. Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, James Gunn is the director of Guardians. Some old offensive tweets were unearthed about him. Not about him, from him on his Twitter. And some of them dealt with pedophilia, and he was making, like, really bad jokes.
Yeah.
And apparently these things were unearthed because he's a big anti-Trump guy. So he said there was a full-on, like, hey, let's get this guy social media thing, and it worked because he works for Disney. That's who makes those movies.
Yep.
And he had jokes about pedophilia. He had jokes about really sensitive topics, but they were just dumb jokes.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything, and he got fired. He lost his job.
Yep.
And he has a horror movie coming out that he directed. That he was gonna do a panel for it in Comic-Con, I read, and I think he didn't show up.
Yeah, probably. I mean, who can blame him?
Yeah, exactly. He would have been swarmed. So, what do you think? You think it's bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're in agreement. I feel
Of course.
like, yeah, I think that it's one of those things where it's a thin line. I'll tell you why, because you forget if you're directing a movie like that, even though your job's not corporate, you're working for corporate America. Disney is one of the Disney is an evil corporation. It's a giant corporation.
My almost biggest problem is with Disney firing him over outcry or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any problem with anybody joking around as long as they're jokes.
Well,
which obviously they were.
No, I'm saying I personally don't have a problem with it, but the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, well, if say you had a job, right? Say you worked in an office, and some asshole you worked with that you had problems with, some guy you guys were just rivals at work.
Yeah.
He was looking at your Twitter, and it was right before you worked that job, you had some tweets on there about pedophilia and stuff like that. He could take those tweets to your boss, and you could lose an office job over it. And I'm like, are they entirely wrong? No, because they reserve the right. It's not government. It's not like where everything's supposed to be fair. They do reserve the right to be like,
of course,
yo,
private.
you're not projecting a character. You're not projecting character that we want in somebody who works for us. And even though this was X amount of years ago, we can't have this on our, besmirching our name.
I agree. Nobody has any guts anymore to come out. They'd rather take the hit as clean as possible rather than standing behind somebody going, yeah, this was regrettable.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he regrets doing it. But you know what? He's put out good work for us, and he's obviously sorry that this happened. It was before that we worked together. So we're going to let him continue because he's given us 2 great movies so far or whatever. Nobody stands up for their man anymore. It's just get in front of it and
I just
cut it at the fucking.
Just get rid of the body.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just literally.
So I almost have more of a problem with Disney, or anybody who.
I have a problem with Disney, but in theory, yeah, I have the problem with Disney. But do they have the right to do it?
Yes,
in my head, I'm
totally.
like, yeah, they do.
Absolutely.
You can't get.
No, it's a private company. That's why a lot of people go, "What about free speech and all this?" Well, not in that. It doesn't apply to that.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to that. So. But my feelings are, oh, come on. And I thought that too. I was like, nobody sticks by anybody.
That's my issue, really.
And Disney's so big, they could have came out and been like, yeah, we love them. That was years ago, and it was a bad joke.
Yeah, it's like, can anybody make this? Like, everybody's perfect now.
And not to bring up, I was going to bring up Trump. Like, you see why people gravitated towards Trump a little bit is because he does talk regular and backs up really horrific things, or he'll pretends that he's loyal or talks about being loyal all the time. So people go, oh, that guy, he'll have you back if he, which that's not the case in certain cases, but
no.
But they see why, because he's like, oh, he's flawed, he says shit, and he's still successful, whatever it is. So I thought it was interesting because I was like. I'm like, yeah, it's weird to me. When you're in the public eye, it's one thing. So if you're the Louis thing in comedy or the Harvey Weinstein. Well, even Harvey Weinstein was an executive. He became a personality because he was so famous from all the movies that he made back in the 90s and stuff like that. But if your job title isn't performer, and then you still get the same treatment, then doesn't that mean everybody is in danger of losing their jobs? Even if you work at you're working HR, or you work in the press department of a magazine or something, you know what I'm saying? Or you work in the PR, or you work, you know what I'm saying? If you just anybody can just your tweets can be brought attention to.
Absolutely. I think most companies now have a not a mission statement, but whatever. When you agree to work, because I'm an employee of SiriusXM, and I've glanced at something that I probably should have read more thoroughly of saying, you are a representative, and if we deem something inappropriate, if your Twitter, for example, is up to our discretion that we don't like, we reserve the right to let you go. Or, that's a private company, so they do.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of crazy. Last bit of news. They're doing the Top Gun sequel, and we were talking about how
Yeah, but I don't know much about it.
we were talking about how Val Kilmer is going to be in it. I think.
All right, Iceman's
and Val Kilmer
back.
looks like
I know, he looks
got
rough.
dropped in a river and then drugged out by police. And this is me knowing I know how I look, but I've always, I said this last time I think where I was like, it's like he just doesn't look. He doesn't have a beach bod. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But now apparently Jennifer Connelly is going to be in it.
In what capacity?
I don't know. I glanced at the article. I didn't read it fully.
All right, good.
On Ain't It Cool News, go to ain'titcoolnews.com and it says Jennifer Connelly is joining the cast.
Because if I know 2018, there's going to be a female pilot.
She's got to be the female
gotta
pilot.
be, right?
She has that vibe to her. She's got to be. It's got to. And
Jennifer Connelly's a weird choice. I guess.
It is because
though.
she's not older.
I just think of her as serious all the time. You know what I mean?
But I thought maybe if you're gonna have a female pilot, they would have, or like if they were gonna go that way, it would be like somebody in their 20s that like is in the school that's learning, and they take him under their wing or something like that, and then she shows them up and then has to save them from something,
God,
like badass girl. What?
That's a good casting. I'm trying to do in my head and I can't come up with one.
You know what would be great is the girl from Ragnarok. She'd be fantastic.
Oh yeah, she'd be really good. Yeah. Absolutely.
She would be really, really good. I don't even know her name. That's
I don't either.
The other thing I wanted to tell you, everybody has to look this up, and then we'll talk about the movie. We'll do the movie. We have another movie, a movie game we're going to try out.
Games and
we're trying different
quizzes.
sections. That's what they tell us. On podcasts, they like the section. This is the movie news section. We're going to do a game called Movie Association, and then we're going to do a twist on the defense today, and then we're going to say our goodbyes. But really quick, I saw a video online. Did you see the thing in the news about the guy from Color Me Bad?
Yes. I am Color Me Bad.
The singer from Color Me Bad, his name's like Steven something. Whatever his name is. No, Color Me Bad, they were all these like good-looking young kids back in the day, like
back
89, early 90s. And they had a song, they literally had a song called I Want to Sex You Up.
I want to sex you up.
It's such a corny song now, but it was like a top 10 hit.
Are you kidding?
Back
The
in
cassette
the 90s.
single.
Yeah, everybody, I wanna. And apparently, they broke up. That was the rumor. I remember hearing they broke up, but nobody cared because they were one-hit wonder pretty much, and nobody cared. And then I read the article in the Post or whatever it was. They joined back together. Like they got back together
reunited.
in 2015. They've been steadily touring. I guess like these nostalgia tours, but they're all like 400 pounds.
Yeah, it's
look up Color Me Bad singer. The guy looks like he's the bouncer for the venue, not the
right,
not the singer. So there's a video online everybody has to check out where one guy, the main guy, is singing. He's singing. He's finishing the song. I wanna sex you up, right? And and everybody's it's actually pretty crowded considering how not relevant they are. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
It looks a lot like Bobby.
He looks Bobby Kelly. He looks like Bobby Kelly with glasses on and a soul pack.
goatee.
No, Bobby Kelly looks way better than that.
Oh yeah.
And also, he looks like fatter MC Search. Remember MC Search?
Yeah, MC Search.
Yeah. So
Was that Pop Goes the Weasel?
yeah, it was. Yeah, third base.
This is Brian Adams is his name.
Brian Adams. Yeah. So the one guy is singing. I forget the other guy's name that's singing. And he's going, I want to sex you up. And then this guy, Brian Adams, and the one guy's fat too, the main guy. And he's saying, and the other guy comes out of nowhere, just walks up to him and says the words, I'm Color Me Bad, bitch, right? And pushes him like almost off the stage.
Yep.
Knocks him right on the stage, and they have video of it. And then he knocks him down. The guy went to the hospital. The guy Brian got arrested on like misdemeanor charges of like assault.
Attempted assault in the third degree.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's out by now. But here's the thing. How are they even able to do those shows looking like that, singing songs, I Want to Sex You Up? Shouldn't they have to change it to like, maybe tomorrow. Maybe, I want to eat a sandwich.
I want to sex you up. Eventually. What am I gonna get?
We'll get there.
You're on my list.
I want to sex you up. Give me a little time to get it going.
Yeah. I'm doing keto.
And don't get mad at me. I'm a fat guy saying
me too.
But I'm a fat guy, and I look at those guys. And I'm like, they are fat.
Yeah,
they are really fat. These guys, I'm shocked. And
that's
the reason
he's 48. I mean, like,
and normally I don't say stuff like this, but considering what they looked like back in the day, like that is the biggest fall I've ever seen of somebody who is still working. Like, how are you still working? Who's going to believe you're the guys from the 90s?
Yeah. Well, they're saying alcohol was a big factor. And,
Of the drink, of the weight?
Yeah. He was
Wow.
drunk. He was intoxicated.
Of him pushing him, you mean?
Yeah. The man
Yeah.
needs some serious help right now. Really, he does.
That's
That's
who was quoted
Mark
as that.
Calderon, the other. He's
He's the other guy in the band.
He's me, of Color Me Bad. Well, that's a shame, but hilarious.
It's pretty insane, right?
Yeah, go watch the video. It's so funny.
Watch the video online.
Just
and-
for the
just for the
visuals
laughs.
of them alone.
Just for the visuals to see, like, oh my God, I remember Calling Me Bad, and then look at these guys. All right, now that's movie news. Now let's move on to our game for the day.
I'm excited for this.
I'm
a little
excited
nervous.
for this too. I have an idea. We'll see how it goes. It could be terrible. It could be fantastic.
Could be a one-hit wonder.
Alex, our producer, he likes the idea of it. So the idea. Have you ever heard of word association games?
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
I figured a fun thing to do. Now, in the past, we've had games on the podcast. In the past, we've done live versions where we do a game called Dreamcast, where like you would recast the
Yeah.
famous movie. We still are going to do that at times, but I want to do one, and it's called Movie Association. So literally. We'll do. Let's do this, Alex. We'll do 2 rounds. I'll do. How many movies? You have like 50 movies there, so I'll do 10, and you'll do 10, and we'll see what we come up with. And so what's going to happen is Alex is going to say the titles of 10 movies, and we're just going to give one-word answers on what pops into our brains right away.
And I'm doing them with you. Or you're going alone.
No, I'll
first?
go alone, then you'll
Okay,
go alone.
Okay,
Let's see how
you
we
go
go.
first, so I can get a
Yeah,
feel
just to
for
see
it.
just to see if anything funny happens.
Okay.
And give me time to give one word. I mean, like, space in between them, but it's just going to be a one-word answer. You ready, Alex?
Yep.
All right, let's give it a shot.
The Avengers, the 1998 movie.
Oh, pork pie hats. That guy has. That's not one. I already screwed it up. That's one.
That's all
right.
right.
Keep going.
Taxi Driver.
De Niro.
Toy Story.
Woody.
The Sting.
Weird pianos.
LA Confidential.
Spacey.
The Love Guru.
Bomb.
Accurate.
The Cat in the Hat.
Bomb.
I was going to say another bomb.
Die Hard.
Classic.
That's what I was going to say.
Chinatown.
Never saw it, but
Ooh.
I know.
Jake. I would say Jake.
I was thinking Nicholson. I was thinking a name.
The Elephant Man.
Lynn. I don't. Hideous.
Yeah.
Hideous. I couldn't think of a word.
Gremlins 2.
Ooh. Zach. Because I think that's his name.
That's
Zach.
it. That's it.
That's the only thing I
The
can think
new
of.
batch.
The new batch. They're called the new batch.
Yeah.
Jack and Jill.
Oh,
Jack. Is that? I don't even know them.
Adam Sandler.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I was thinking of something different.
Drag.
It's disaster movie.
Crap.
Yeah.
Gone Girl.
Great.
Jurassic Park.
Classic.
Before Sunrise.
Overhyped? Is that a one word?
Sure.
These movies.
We can have a little license.
Yeah. Go ahead.
La La Land.
Underrated. No, not underrated. Loved it. Loved. Loved.
Really?
The Help.
Shit pie. I never saw it. That's the only thing I know about that movie.
Yeah,
is that
me
there's a
neither.
shit
I
pie.
know that.
The Princess Bride.
Oh, childhood.
Judgment at Nuremberg.
Jesus Christ.
Alex's childhood. That was very anti-Semitic. Sorry, Alex. I was trying to be funny. Judgment at Nuremberg. Never. Don't know. Never saw it.
The Apartment.
Lemon.
Battlefield Earth.
Scientology.
Date movie.
Crap. Let's do one more.
Kazam.
Genie.
I was just gone with Shaq.
Shaq. Oh, you know, actually, we were talking about Kazam before.
That's what I was thinking. Kazam and Shazam, when you first said it, I was like, they're redoing that?
I know. That's what Alex thought. We were talking about it earlier. All right, Andy, it's your turn.
That was more than 10.
That was more than 10. That was like 20, right?
Yeah, that was 20.
All right, give Andy 20.
Yeah. No, well, all right, whatever.
Okay.
We'll rattle
Same
through
amount,
them.
same amount.
Terminator 2.
What was it?
Terminator 2.
Oh, AMC Headquarters 10.
Is that what you saw?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So by myself, my mom bought the ticket for me, like, on condition. She was like, all right, you can go.
Yeah.
It was rated R.
About how old were you?
What was that, 92? So I was 13.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Great.
Rear Window.
Classic.
Gladiator.
Crow. Trying to stick to one word.
I know.
I'm just trying to do the first thing that pops into my
The
head.
same here, but it's hard because you want to do different words.
Yeah.
Old Boy.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Lion King.
Never saw it. I never saw it. I think we talked about
I never
that.
saw it either.
Memento.
Overrated.
Whoa.
Doctor Strangelove.
Kubrick.
Django Unchained.
Oh, jeez. I was.
You're going to say the N-word.
N-word.
That would shut down the podcast. We'd be out of business. Alex
wait,
in
wait,
the
I'm just
studio.
going with
wait.
DiCaprio.
The Dark Knight Rises.
God. Hardy.
Aliens.
Scary. Jeez, first word.
Yeah, that's good though.
Once Upon a Time in America.
I'm having a hard time remembering.
Citizen Kane.
Orson.
Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Childhood favorite.
Amadeus.
Salieri.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Carrie.
Singing in the Rain.
Dance sequence.
Good Will Hunting.
Beards.
Snatch.
Accents.
Rashomon.
I don't know it. I know it, but I don't know it.
Okay.
Give me one more.
Some Like It Hot.
Again, another one I haven't seen.
Okay, hold on. Heat.
Pacino.
All right.
Not bad. Good variety of films.
Yeah, that was good. That was great.
That's it?
I was really trying to stick to the first thing that popped in my head and not try and give like a funnier or like a contrived answer. So a lot of them are a little blander, but it's easy to go with an actor's name, but I was just really trying to just whatever came in.
No, that's
You know?
me too. I was trying to think of other stuff besides the actors or directors.
Yeah.
And then, or it was like classic bomb, or I said bomb like 3 times. It's hard to do.
So you had a few more bombs than me.
We'll try that again at some point.
It's a fun exercise.
It's a fun little exercise. Now, for the last section of the show today, Andy, would you like to take over and describe what you like to do?
Yeah, we were texting earlier, and this kind of just popped into my head because, of course, it's Defend Your Movie. So I thought a fun thing to do would be a lot of my favorite movies are classics that, for whatever reason, didn't win Best Picture, which is obviously very subjective, and, the voters is a different time. Whatever reason it didn't win the Best Picture, we wanted to maybe look at the winner of a certain year and then look at the other nominees that didn't win, and maybe if you want to defend the winner against the non-winners. For example, let's just take 1970, because 70s is my favorite decade, so we can start there. Patton won for Best Picture, but the other nominees were Airport, Five Easy Pieces, Love Story, and MASH.
Wait, which one won?
Patton won.
Patton won against...
Airport, Five Easy Pieces, Love Story, and MASH. I don't know enough of those.
I think the way things are now, I'm surprised that it wasn't MASH or Five Easy Pieces.
I agree.
Because people they don't mention Patton anymore. They mention Five Easy Pieces.
Right.
And they mention MASH as far as the TV show goes.
Yeah. It led to the TV show.
I know, yeah. But I'm
which is
saying,
rare.
like, they talk about the TV show more, but the Five Easy Pieces has that famous scene. Actually, Five Easy Pieces, only that scene is mentioned the most. The one of him in the diner when he says, "I want you to take the chicken and put it between your legs."
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
it is. Like, so I don't know if the whole movie's good or just that scene is. But
Obviously there's a few years where they get it right, I think.
But what happens is a lot of the times is these things like they run out of steam. Like nobody's like they're not. I don't see them playing Patton on TV anymore.
Yeah.
If it is, it's relegated to those like TV One old time. You know, like
Right. TMC classics.
yeah, you're not really hearing about it. You know.
71, The French Connection won versus A Clockwork Orange, Fiddler on the Roof, The Last Picture Show, and Nicholas and Alexandra, which I'm not familiar with.
Wow, that's crazy.
But The French Connection's good. I mean, it's a classic.
No, I mean it's crazy that it won. I mean, like the movies that these are up against
Yeah.
are like insane. Like I think if you get into the 80s and 90s, the movies they're up. Watch if we see decade by decade.
Yeah.
There's more classics in the 70s.
Oh, totally.
That were up
That's
against
why
each
I
other.
started there
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's an easy one. 72.
Well, no, hold on, 71. What would you say? Would you say they made the right choice?
I think so. A Clockwork Orange is maybe the more known picture, but I don't know if it's the better picture.
I think it's the more like cult favorite
Cult classic,
now
yeah.
than what actually won the.
French Connection, Fiddler on the Roof is whatever. The Last Picture Show is great, but yeah, I think I think French Connection probably beats all those.
I think it does, yeah.
72 obviously is Godfather, but it goes against Cabaret, Deliverance, The Emigrants, and Sounder. I mean, that's a laugh.
Wow,
right there.
yeah. Sounder was, yeah. Nobody talks about Sounder anymore, but that's a good movie.
This is one in 73 that, well, we talked about it a little bit. I think there's one in here. I think you agree with me. So The Sting won in 1973, Best Picture. It goes up against American Graffiti, which is a classic. Cries and Whispers, Ingmar Bergman film.
Wait, which one?
The Sting won.
Yeah.
It goes up against, the other nominees were American Graffiti,
Yeah.
Cries and Whispers, The Exorcist, and A Touch of Class.
Oh, Exorcist.
That's a tough one for
And
me.
also, but for me, I'm saying publicly, people would say Exorcist. I think society would say
Yeah.
Exorcist. I like American Graffiti a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I love
Wow,
American Graffiti.
because
I think it has such a weird feeling to it.
Yeah.
I think it probably feels how it was to hang out in a night.
People, Coppola could have won 3 in a row for that. That's Coppola.
I know,
he
I
could
know.
have.
But it's not. But it's also not as good of a movie as. Oh, American Graffiti is after The Godfather?
It's right in between 1 and 2.
Really?
Yeah, it's 72 is Godfather 1, 73 is American Graffiti, 74 is Part 2.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I figured American Graffiti was like his Who's That Knocking on My Door? Like,
Right.
It was like a beginner movie, you know?
I know.
It was like Ron Howard's in it.
And
he's
he
really
eventually
good.
gets to The Outsiders. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. Maybe those were like, it's like his version of him doing like an independent movie. or
Yeah,
something, you know?
yeah. Well, this is a good one because I think they got it right with The Sting, personally. Although The Exorcist is right there for me.
Yeah, but what do you hear more about now, The Sting or The Exorcist?
Yeah, definitely The Exorcist.
Right, that's
I have
considered-
an Exorcist poster in my...
I think if you asked that as a trivia question, people would say it's The Exorcist 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, The Sting is like my dad loved it, and I used to watch it with
Yeah,
him.
yeah, it has like
a little more
personal
heart-
stuff to you, yeah.
74, Godfather Part 2, but a lot of good movies in this year, too. Chinatown, The Conversation.
Well, Conversation didn't get
Coppola
into...
again. He could have...
I could have won again.
Lenny and The Towering Inferno, which,
Lenny was what? Oh, with Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
And Towering Inferno. Oh, yeah, those were all like huge hits.
Right. That's a great year. It's a really underrated year because Part 2 overshadows all those.
It does. It is the best one out of all those.
Absolutely.
Wait, what did you say the first two were? After that, after Godfather 2?
Chinatown and The Conversation.
Chinatown?
is...
Like, it would have
right.
won if Godfather 2 wasn't.
Exactly.
That's
I agree.
crazy.
Now, this year, this is maybe my most controversial year in this decade, 75.
Okay.
Because it holds my all-time favorite movie, Jaws.
Yeah.
So personally, it's a little bit of a slight there. The winner is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, won for Best Picture in 1975.
Right.
Barry Lyndon, another Kubrick. It was very artsy, but
it was also very art house, not accepted.
Absolutely.
But it makes you think, like, they make a lot of these picks they make years later. These things got appreciated more.
Absolutely.
So back then they really were making like pretty
people
spot on
teaching
parts.
classes on Kubrick and showing this
Barry
as
Lyndon.
like cinema.
Barry Lyndon was my dad's favorite. Kubrick movie.
So Cuckoo's Nest is the winner. Barry Lyndon, as I said, Dog Day Afternoon,
Wow.
Jaws, and Nashville. Which I don't know Nashville.
Nashville, I never saw
With
it.
Robert
but-
Altman, I mean,
I know,
it's
but
like every
known
one of
as-
those directors in that lineup right there are gods
Yeah.
in cinema.
Yeah. and this is, you could knock out Nashville. I think you cross off Nashville. I think. What was the one before it? It was
Jaws.
Jaws
And Dog Day.
I'm shocked that Jaws didn't win. Dog Day. Who was Dog Day? Michael Camino.
Sidney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet. Right.
So Lumet, I guess.
Uh,
With Barry Lyndon and then Cuckoo's Nest. And that's a tough year.
Any of
What a
those.
year.
Any of those could have won.
No.
Cuckoo's Nest is a lot of people's favorite. You know what it is? You know what did it? I'll tell you what probably did it is Nicholson for Cuckoo's Nest.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, this was. You got to remember too. This was still Spielberg was almost an unknown. This
Yeah.
was only Duel and then Jaws.
And he was
So he doesn't have the weight that he does now. I mean, Sidney Lumet's one of the all times for Dog Day, but as much as I love Dog Day Afternoon, it doesn't. To me, I'd put it behind Cuckoo's Nest and Jaws, personally.
yeah.
And then obviously Barry Lyndon and Nashville are
Like I think personally I would have put I like Jaws the best out of all those.
Me too.
Yeah, but also look at it. Jaws is way more of a classic. Like not way more of a classic than Cuckoo's Nest. It is, but
First blockbuster, they say.
Jaws
Summer blockbuster.
It holds up. Like people watch Jaws now and they still get
Totally.
into it, and they relate to it. Cuckoo's Nest is like way heavier. It looks very 70s.
Yeah, it is a little dated.
It's dated, but movie wise, like movie buffs love it.
Right. It has classic performances and
Yeah, but I'm shocked. But any of those, except for
even Dog Day though. I mean, God, John Cazale and Pacino.
I know.
I mean, it's so good.
I would say what did it was Nicholson.
Yeah,
Because he was such a
I think
huge,
you might be right.
He was I think back then he was like
What a
he was
year.
like- he was like probably the biggest movie star back then, right? Nicholson.
Yeah, 75. What a year! Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now here's another one where I think the Academy got it wrong. 1976 Best Picture, Rocky.
See, I'll defend Rocky as the best.
All right.
I think that you said the one that won, the one that didn't, you wanted to win was
The
what?
other nominees are All the President's Men, which is a good movie, but it's not a Best Picture worthy for me if you're putting it up against Rocky. Bound for Glory, which I don't know.
Oh, I never saw it.
Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
And Network, which is what I would have picked for Best Picture that year. Network to me is one of the almost close to perfect movies. I mean, it is such a heavy hitter. It has the acting, it has the directing. Another Sidney
but
Lumet.
you know, you have to realize is like it's still American. It's an American award show. Like,
I agree.
Rocky is like
No doubt. You can
also-
see why it won, obviously.
the greatest thing about the first Rocky is that he like one of the things I love that never really was carried over in other films is like he loses.
Yeah.
Like that is. It still has. It's a movie about hope where he loses in
Yeah.
the end. They would never make that now,
Right.
Like they would now, or maybe now they'd start coming full circle. But then all the other Rockies got in, and they got spoiled. How about let me ask
Well,
you
they
this?
do it in Creed too, where he loses the.
They do it in Creed, but
yeah.
they were trying
Right.
because they knew the formula. That's why. And also, but let me ask you this: if Rocky was the only, if there was no Rocky sequels, what would you think?
Oh, that's tough.
And it's hard not to imagine them
yeah.
being like a Rocky 5,
I don't. If you're saying
Rocky
that
4
they're
the Russians, and that it becomes like a
if you're
a
saying
parody
it's
of
downgrading
itself.
it for me, it's not.
No, I'm saying
it's-
upgrading it.
Oh, I was like,
No, you mean the
you're
sequels
wondering-
are?
Yeah, I
the
thought you were
sequels
saying
aren't
they're watering it
downgrading
down.
Oh, the sequel's downgraded for me.
Okay, I don't.
They
I'm
spoil it a
trying to have
little
it stand alone on its own, and
See, I think
I love Network. You can now watch again, and it's so relevant to today. What's going on with media
Yeah.
and the news? It's crazy how prophetic that movie was. It's insane if you go back and watch it. You go, holy shit, that's happening today. Not that whatever. I mean, that's aside from the fact that it's just a beautiful picture.
I think
And the
you had
acting,
like
oh man, it's so good.
one of the things to defend Rocky winning, but in 2018, like if this was 1975, I'd be like, well, or 76. You had Stallone, like, he didn't do too many where he was like pretty organic or pretty, I don't know how to put it, where he wasn't like Mr. Action movie star.
Right.
He kind of jumped into that role very quickly. Like the guy's not a bad actor. Like he wasn't a bad actor.
No, he wrote it.
He wrote it. So like Rocky is the only evidence we have that he is a talented guy. You know what I mean? Like he wrote it.
No, he did kind of become a caricature.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah. So that's why I love Rocky so much, because you're like, wow, this actually is like, it's a huge franchise, but this is the meat,
Absolutely.
the quality part of it.
Yeah. It's a great. Obviously, it's one of my favorites, but yeah, it's just personally, I take Network over Rocky. 77 is Annie Hall one, which is I like because it's one of the rare times a comedy has won Best Picture. I can't even really recall the other ones. Maybe The Apartment. I don't even know if that won Best Picture. But
The
anyway,
Apartment? No, The Apartment did it win Best Picture?
I'm not sure. But The Goodbye Girl, it was up against The Goodbye Girl, Julia, Star Wars, and The Turning Point.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So-
see, now you're going to start seeing it less and less. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and you see what they're doing. See how Star Wars... Actually, this is pretty interesting, because now the blockbuster... Like, 76, you had
Yep.
Jaws as the blockbuster,
This
right?
is exactly where it turns, because I've looked ahead,
Yeah.
and you're right.
It turns, because now you're going to see the bigger ones
Yep.
start to creep in, right? Like, they're sacrificing quality for grandiosity? Is that a
Yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Because why? Let's look at 78. The year I was born, 1978.
77, that was 77.
Yeah.
Okay, 78, Deer Hunter wins.
Wins. But all right, so you're still kind of holding on to like that, that's Michael Cimino, right? Who directed it, I think? No.
That's
or is it Brian
De
no.
Palma, I think.
De Palma?
I
Yeah.
think, I can't remember.
Deer Hunter is that's what I'm saying, like,
Oh, you're right, Cimino.
yeah, that's a hardcore heavy. That's heavy.
Heavy.
I watched it once. I can't watch it.
That was
more than
one of
once.
those ones where you'd go to the video store and it came in 2 tapes.
Yes.
The rare breed of 2 tapers.
Absolutely. And you're like, I am diving into this
It is
thing.
heavy. I watched it within the last year just to watch it again for myself. And
It's like watching.
it's a long build up to. I mean, the whole Russian roulette stuff is just.
It's too
really hard.
It goes back. It's I can't
Very
take
tough
it.
watch.
And also, it reminds me of Happiness. Like, I love the movie. You ever seen
Yeah,
Happiness?
of course.
Love that movie. I watched it once. I can't
Yeah,
watch
it's
it.
super dark, man.
It's super dark, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I came.
The best is Love Is in the beginning. It's like, you're shit. You're shit, and I'm champagne. Yeah.
So yeah, Deer Hunter was, if you want me to mention, Coming Home, Heaven Can Wait, Midnight Express,
Wait, this is 79?
and
Or
An Unmarried
78?
Woman. That was 78.
Oh,
79.
Heaven Can Wait. I'm surprised, because that was a big. That was Beatty.
Yeah, Beatty.
Who actually? Who was the biggest movie star of the 70s? Probably Nicholson or Beatty.
I would say Nicholson.
Yeah, you think?
Beatty was heartthrobbish, but I don't think he holds a candle to Nicholson.
acting wise. No. But yeah.
79, my year. I was born. The winner. Maybe I should do the other ones and then reveal the winner. But whatever. Kramer versus Kramer won, which
Okay.
there's all that jazz is in there. Apocalypse Now. Boy, Coppola had a monster decade. Breaking Away and Norma Ray were the other nominees.
That's why Coppola is still. That's why he owns a vineyard.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, how many?
What a run!
Is he the most winningest director of all? Like, I always think, I'm like, the
that's a good
Coens
question.
have the best track record. I'm like, because they make the
He
best.
might be the most nominated, but I don't think he's. Yeah,
But he made so many amazing movies.
he really did, or had a hand in him. You know?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Hearts of Darkness? It's the
the
documentary
sure.
about the making of it. It's like, oh my god, what a hell!
Totally.
His wife directed it.
Sheen had a heart attack on set, and
Yeah.
know.
Well, also, you know who originally was in Sheen's part on Apocalypse Now?
Tell me, I can't remember. But
Keitel.
Yeah,
They filmed like an eighth of the movie with Keitel.
right.
They had a poster with him. I saw it online. I had a picture of it. A poster with him
Oh,
in the
that's
poster.
hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
So Kramer versus Kramer, which is all right movie. Apocalypse Now
Doesn't hold up though.
has become
Time-wise, it's done.
out of that group. Apocalypse Now has clearly surpassed all the other pictures.
How about this? How about we do this? Best movie of the 70s. We'll do best
That's
of
great
decade.
because that's the decade. I wanted to go one more year just into 1980 because it's the Raging Bull. And Ordinary People wins.
Can't do it. Gotta have a 7 before. I'm sorry, my friend. Did Raging Bull won? Did it not win?
Ordinary People won over Raging Bull, which
yeah,
is
it's
really a crime against films. But I mean, Ordinary People's okay. But that's a heavy movie too, you know. But
It's super. These high dramas, they win.
the best.
What would you say? It's the best movie of the 70s. We did all the 70s. What would you
I mean,
say?
it's personally hard to. For years, I've been saying my favorite movie all time is Jaws.
I think now I'm talking about now. So you can use anything we've learned in the past 40 years. You can learn. I mean, that you can use for it.
To
so
me,
I think knowing that from personally, Jaws wins for me. I think.
me, it's Jaws and Network, Step and Step.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I love Network. I mean, it's,
You love it that much,
It's a
yeah.
big. There's so many. What a decade it was, though.
It's crazy.
It's the best, I think.
That's crazy. I think we'll stick to the 70s. We'll end it on the 70s.
Cool.
And we'll do the 80s another time. But I think out of all those, I think I'm trying to think if you pull back, almost like details wise, like I was just talking to Dan St. Germain's going to be doing the show. He's my buddy. He's a comic. He's hilarious. And you know, Dan.
Of course.
And we were trying to figure out movies that we like. We were trying to figure out one that I liked, like, what we could do either side of the verses aspect of this. So he was like throwing out things, and everyone I'd pick, he'd be like, "Fuck, that's my answer. Fuck, that's my answer." But and one of the ones he brought up a couple times was There Will Be Blood. He goes, "What about this against this?" And I'm like, I love There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
But if you look at a movie as a whole, you have to look at the thing from start to finish, the actors, the script, everything as a whole. You almost have to look at, you have to like step back and you're not just like, oh my God, this guy's in it, so yes, this wins everything. Right. You know what I'm saying? And There Will Be Blood, I'm like, it's as a whole, it doesn't beat a lot of movies. It doesn't beat a lot of movies. I go, it's a great movie, but if you put it up against a Boogie Nights, which is the same director, I'm like,
give me
Boogie Nights, because Boogie Nights from beginning to end, I'm like, I'm in, like everything about it,
100%.
and it was so different, and it was like, whatever. So we were going over that, and I'm like, yeah, it won't win. The Will Be Blood will not win a lot against a lot of stuff for me because what I liked about it's Daniel Day-Lewis is the main.
He carries it.
And the music and the writing is good, but and the opening scene, I put a lot of weight in that they do 10 minutes without any dialogue and you're actually interested in it. Like that's huge. That's huge in that movie. So my point being, when it comes to the 70s, personally, in my opinion, Jaws has what I'm saying. And you pull back, it has everything.
Brilliant acting, great script.
And I know what I picked for the 90s too, but I'm not going to say it now.
All right, let's hold on.
But
You just reminded me, though, of a movie I just watched recently, which, did you see A Quiet Place?
No.
It's great.
I heard it's
not
great.
a word until, like, it beats There Will Be Blood.
How many minutes in?
I specifically looked. It's like 38 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And you'd think that would be weird. It's a really cool...
I've heard how good it is.
Device they use. I think John Krasinski directed it and
Yeah, he
stars
did.
in it.
He wrote it.
I really liked it. I really liked it a
Well, I
lot.
guess you don't have to write it, but...
No, but it's a cool plot and an interesting take on like just filmmaking in general. Because
Really?
yeah, it's like you'd think that you'd be like, all right, how are they going to do this?
Like, it might win for sound design because...
Yeah, I can't see it losing. I mean, it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
The way that, and I loved it.
Because even if they don't think it's Oscar quality, the rest of it, a lot of the times random movies will win for sound design. Like,
Yeah.
Back in the 90s...
Jaws won for sound design.
Did it?
It did.
And also, there's a bad movie with Michael Douglas called The Ghost in the Darkness about lions. But the sound was so amazing on it, it won for sound design.
Have you ever seen The Game?
Yeah, The Game I love. The Game is great.
I don't know why that popped in the head.
I'll defend The Game as
absolutely.
It's a great movie. Oh, it's a great movie.
It's a little dated now because
and
you
it's
can
Fincher.
figure it out.
And it's Fincher.
Yeah.
Fincher's another guy underrated, and we talked about that in the podcast once. Fincher, I don't know what it is, and I want to wrap up, but Fincher doesn't get his due like he should.
Yeah.
Zodiac is a fucking beast. Name the Fincher lineup, and you're like, love it, love it, love it, love it, and a lot of those movies, if didn't have him directing it, you wouldn't be. I love it.
Sure,
like
totally.
he gives us things to
No,
look.
he's got a look and a feel.
Yeah, absolutely. He has a fingerprint. He has a So I would
check
say,
out A Quiet Place. It's really cool, and you made me remember it because of There Will Be Blood.
I will.
I recommend it.
And as far as the 70s go, you'll say Jaws. You say
Yeah,
Network or Jaws?
I mean, Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. It's I have a Jaws tattoo.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, I have a lost tattoo. Don't worry about it. It's a loosely based lost tattoo. Well, thank you for doing this, Andy.
Of course, man. Always a pleasure.
I think we're getting to the swing of things with our new sections on the show. We'll do that every time, and then next week we will have the proper format. We're going to have the versus format. We just wanted to try those things out, and then we wanted to do the different take on the defense aspect of the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to Showbiz Studios. Go to showbrizstudios.com for all your Showbriz needs. Go on their YouTube page and their iTunes page where you can check out all the podcasts they have, including Mateo and Emma Willman's podcast and Jessica Curson and Frank Liotti's and just a bunch of really funny people that have podcasts on this network. And Andy, what would you like to plug? Anything?
Yeah, you can find me as always at Andy Fiore. No, find me at Andy Fiore, ANDYFIORI. If you're in Madison, Wisconsin, August 9th through the 11th, I'm at Comedy on State, which I'm looking forward to with Dan Soder.
Oh, lucky.
The power punt.
Tape those shows.
I'm gonna, yeah.
That is the best club in the country.
I'm excited to go.
Oh.
And here's a little thing. Don't tell the government. I have that call-in jury duty that whole week.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just rolling the dice. So.
I would do it. I roll the dice for it.
Totally.
Don't tell New York State.
Right.
Yeah. Or New Jersey. Is it New Jersey?
No,
or New
it's
State?
New York.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what you think of the new format, even though we kind of went off it a little bit today. But let us know if you have any ideas you want that would work for the show. DefendYourMovie@gmail.com, @DefendYourMovie on Twitter, and #DefendYourMovie on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.